Okay, so today's video is going to be more of a discussion video. Let me know your guys' thoughts on this in the comments, but for a while in Genshin's like early days, people were constantly saying, oh yeah, play this game, these 4 stars are better than, 5 stars, or these 4 stars are on par with 5 stars. And I feel like we've sort of lost that completely. Like, it's been such a draw. It's like the Archon's rerun fast thing. It's not actually true anymore. Because if you look at the way, Archons are, being out, since Nahida, they've taken the average time it takes for all characters to rerun. It actually, I don't get why people still believe in the myth of Archon rerun fast. It's not. You know how many updates it's been since Fiorina's rerun? She came out in like 4.2, right? Yeah. So we should expect her to rerun maybe next update. So Fiorina reruns in 4.2. But, I mean, if we see already, Nevi already got his rerun, and the only way that Fiorina gets a rerun is next update. And, well, it's been an entire update since, Nevi got his rerun. So, Nevi had an easier return, a faster return than Fiorina. So, it's a myth, right? So, it's sort of like that in Genshin nowadays. Now, you have your Kujo-Saras, right, that are, like, extremely good once you get them C6 and really decently, strong at, C0 because they give, something else. But when it comes to other characters, like Gaming, for example, he's a DPS character. He's just not going to be on par with other DPS characters, like 5-star DPSs, right? Are we seriously going to look at him and Nevi and say, oh yeah, they work completely, seamlessly. They're basically the same character, Or Arlecchino, sure, since they're both pyro units. Not really. Because it used to be that, yeah, sure, Diluc's the best character in the game, but Razor is not far behind him, right? That was a big thing that people would say, and now Razor is in Hyper Bloom, which is, I don't know, since Diluc got Sinyun, whether Hyper Bloom is better than, Diluc, but the point is, it feels like we've lost that sort of, yeah, 4 stars are really good. Like, you have to be like someone like Kuki in order to be considered good. Like, if you look at all the earlier 5 stars, like Barbara's awful, Yao Yao, she's meh. Candace, she's Yanfei, she's not good anymore. Like, she was decent when she came out, pretty good, and she worked very well. She was comparable, and now she's not. She's just not. Sinyun's not. Chongyun's not, but then again, he was kind of already on that edge, but he was still good. Layla, I mean, she has her uses, but, like, you're not really using her that often, honestly. Like, where are you using this guy? I don't even know what he does. Like, so I know what he does, but I just don't, like, the specifics of his, kit. He's not that good, right? Sayu's not that good, right? It's become a thing that people still believe in this, and it's only true for, like, certain characters. Amber was also sort of like that character that she was never really that good, but she was still usable, very good. And then Barbara also is just one of those characters who, yeah, Fiorina comes out, she's usable somewhat, but, like, are you really gonna use her? Are you really? Like, Razor, he's just dead. Like, yeah, sure, Sinyun was good for him, but he's still just, like, the worst option for Sinyun, I'm pretty sure, unless you go with the other characters that are actually just bad with Sinyun, which have better teams, right? Lisa, she got buffed with Dendro, but I mean, it's, any Electro character can fill that role. Raiden fills that role very easily, and then you can use her as a DPS if you really need to. Hazo, he's pretty mid. He's been mid since his start, right? Lynette, she's pretty mid, right? She's like, you're not comparing Lynette with Lenny, is basically, like, it's just a myth that's been perpetuated at this point, to the point where it's like, Ningguang, she's just awful, I would have to say. Noelle is like one character, just because Geo has been treated so badly. Navi is better than her, but Noelle, she can run with Yelan, Fiorina, Xingqiu, and have the healing on top of that, and, it will work. But beyond that, beyond her, like, sphere of, those characters, she's not really doing that much, honestly. She's not. I don't, like, she's good. She's, like, one of the ones that have held up, But then you have Kirara, and she's good. Very, very niche. And, at C6, obviously, she'll be better. But, I mean, Cole, I mean, she's good for her Dendro application, but once again, No, like you want Nahida, you want, you know, Denjo Traveler even, which I mean that one at least we have him. I'm not entirely sure about Keve, but I don't expect him to be that good, honestly. He's just a, you know, discount Nilu, I feel like, you know, I gotta be honest. And then yeah, he's not that crazy. Dory, she's you could do some things with her, but like those things aren't really easy to do, or, you know, consistent or great, and you need, you know, like you need a lot to make this character look good. Beto, she's held up sorta well. Kaya, he's Mika, he's one of those 4 stars that, you know, if you get his C6, he's really good, right? So do we think that, you know, because like look at my team. I am running Arlecchino, I'm running Zhongli, I'm running Kazuha, I'm running Bennett. Bennett is the one 4-star who I don't think will ever age, because the moment they make a character that, you know, nullifies Bennett is the moment that this character gets another insane power creep like we've had in Fontaine, which is the main catalyst for a reason why I'm saying this, is because we have 5 stars that can't keep up with characters like Alhaitham, Nevi, Arlecchino, right? We have 5 stars that can't keep up. What about, you know, the 4 stars that are specifically made worse? Being a 4-star is a death sentence unless you have crit damage as your C6. It is actually just dead on arrival death sentence is what being a 4-star means in this game. And I mean, like, I'm not saying that 4 stars are unusable, but I'm saying that we used to believe that, you know, 4 stars, they're close to the 5 stars, you know, that was like a draw for Genshin Impact. And then people just sort of went with it and kept going with it to the point where I still see it in comments sometimes. I'm seeing the Archon rerun comment, right? Like you know, like it's not true, yet people still constantly say, yeah, this what happens. This what happens. You know, it's not though. It's not. Because let me look up, you know, all of the 4 stars. I am missing one 4-star, and that's Chevy. She is a newer 4-star, and she is really good, you know, especially at C6. She's one of those 4 stars that broke the mold. Let's go. I'll do a point count of if these characters are like usable above 5 stars. That is what we're looking for in a lot of these 4 stars, right? Because someone like Bennett, you know, he's on par with 5-star supports, right? And he's on par with Kazuha and stuff. He is worse than Fiorina, Nihida, and Kazuha, I would say that. But he is still, you know, really, really good, and I would still use him over Fiorina in some teams, right? Because Fiorina doesn't fit in all the teams, right? So let's go. We're gonna give Gaming a loss because you just don't want to run him over other Pyro 5 stars, you know. He's a DPS character. We're gonna give Chevy a win, right? We're gonna give Charlotte a loss because you really don't want to run her over any. I think she is like. Is she the only cryo healer? Is that her benefit? Is that her only benefit? She's the only. I mean, Diona's there, but she's a team. She's not a team healer. I think that's her benefit. As soon as we get a 5-star cryo healer, it's gonna be better to just run a not Charlotte, because Charlotte's already not really that good. She is literally there just for her healing, right? So we're giving this to another loss, and then we have Lynette and, you know, all right, you're gonna shut up, all right? All right. And then we have Lynette and we have Fremine, which are both losses. Like I said, you're not going to run either of these as DPS characters over, you know, anybody, right? It doesn't necessarily mean these characters are bad. It just means that these characters are just not on par with 5 stars, which is what we're talking about today. All right, I want to make sure I repeat myself. I'm giving Kirara a loss because she's directly connected to the character that is literally there that will be better than her in like 99% of situations. And then Yao Yao, once again, also connected to the same character, right? It's great. And then Mika, we will give a win. So right now we're at 6 losses, 2 wins. And yeah, we'll up that to 7 losses because Kave, you're not running him over someone like Alhaitham, right? You're just not. He's a DPS sort of character, or Nilu, right? I said he was the discount Nilu earlier, but, you know, this is Nilu. Now, Farazan, we'll give the win. We will give the win. I'll have to give Layla a win and Toma a win probably when we get to him, because it generally, she's shielding and she's providing something other, you know, 5 stars aren't, right? Because she's applying cryo and shielding. You don't have a character like that. Generally, the defensive mechanic of cryo characters, what they do is they just freeze, right? Dory is another loss, so we're now up to 8 losses. Candace is another loss because she's Candace, and it's not really that great. Cole, I will go ahead and give you another, because in a Nilou team, she actually is more useful. So we will go ahead and we'll be generous and give Cole a, win. And then Hazo is just a 10. Kuki, like I said earlier, Kuki, all these Electro characters, if their only ability is really doing Electro, Sinnoh's doing it, right? Sinnoh is a perfect example of why you're not going... Oh, no, that's a win. No. Sinnoh is a perfect example of why you don't run Kuki, because Sinnoh is doing basically the same thing as Kuki, but doing more damage as it, like, at the same time. Literally, exact same thing. Yunjin. Now, Yunjin, she's niche and she's specific. How often do I use her? And I will give her an actual win. I will give Yunjin a win, because when I use Yunjin, it is when I don't use her, I should say, is because of Bennett, not another 5-star. It's because Bennett's 1,200 attack is providing a bigger buff than her, 30 hits buffed, right? It's providing a bigger buff than that. And also she gives attack speed, so some characters are going to get benefit off of that. Okay, this is actually a good streak of characters. We got Toma and Goro, so that's now up to 8 wins, 11 losses. And then we have Kujosara also. Okay, so they're evening it out. So the older we get, the more wins we get. So, this shows you how the game's developed. Sayu, Kujosara, once again, crit damage. Goro, crit damage. Same reason as Layla for Toma, is because they're providing, a pyro shield, a cryo shield, and they're also applying that element, which is useful in some scenarios. It's useful. It's, you're not going to use Zhongli over Toma in some instances because Zhongli doesn't apply pyro. It's the reason why, Grizzly in one of his teams, it's like Toma, Bennett, Nikita. And if you added Zhongli to that team, the team would work a lot worse. So it is an actual, there is a reason to run Toma. He is competitive against 5-stars, right? Sayu, we're going to have to give him a loss because there's no reason to run her. Basically, main DPS characters. The reason why we had a streak of good characters is because it's just all supports. That's what 4-star should be. Enough with these 4-star main DPSs. They're never really good, right? And, we'll have to give another loss to Yanfei because she's just not held up, right? She used to be, once again, really good. Then fell off. Now, Rosaria. It's tough. I'm going to have to give it another loss. The reason for that being is because Mika... Well, no, then that is kind of the same thing as Yunjin, right? Mika replaced her. I don't know. I just feel like I don't use Rosaria a lot. I'll give it to him. We'll just give him the benefit of the doubt, sure. Whatever. Sun Yan, this was dead on arrival. Diona, is there really a reason to run her over any other character? Like, do you need, if instead of Zhongli, run Diona? Is there a situation where you would want that? Because Zhongli doesn't mess with interactions with elements, right? And Diona's not providing any elements. I think I'm going to have to consider this a loss. As much as I like Diona, she's good. I just don't think she's competitive against 5-stars at this point. I don't. And now we get into the base game 5-stars. So now I have a recent experience with Sucrose of why she would be better, is because Kazuha messes with, elements and reactions, and, in terms of some pyro DPSs, you want a lot of elements mastery, which Sucrose can provide. Chongyun, we're going to give him a loss because there's no reason to run him, really. Noelle, we'll give her I could give Noelle a win, right? Because she is really good. She's better than Ito. That's the number one thing. But then again, she's not better than Navia. So I don't know. She's better than Ito. I'll give her a win just because she's better than Ito. Well, what I should say is AoE. AoE is where Noelle surpasses Navia, probably. I don't know exactly how good Navia's AoE is, but I don't think it's that good. So I will give Noelle the win because she is a AoE, Geo character that does damage, and she does good damage, better, and then also she has the hydrate characters. Generally, Noelle's team is just entirely, not her, really. She's healing, providing shield, you'll stay alive. She is, she is really good. I'll give her the win, but I don't think it necessarily is, definitive. All right. And Bennett, this guy is definitive. Yeah, he's a win. He's a win. Official. I'm gonna have to. There are situations like C6 official. Yeah, it makes sense why you would want to use her. Ninglong, that's just a stinker. All right. Yeah, just no. Xingqiu, yep, sure. Xingqiu can run Sacrificial Sword, which will take less time to proc, and his E-skill procs it more often than Yelan, and Yelan has worse application, right? So Xingqiu is still, runnable and honestly, sometimes better than Yelan. Beidou, I think, yeah, I would have to give her the win, right? Because there's no real Electro character that's doing what Beidou does, providing a little bit of a shield. I don't think her shield is that strong. I think it's pretty weak. But it is also providing interruption resistance, applying Electro. I think I'll have to go ahead and give her the win, right? And then Xiangling, obviously, will give her the win because she's off-field pyro damage, which somehow, we have not gotten a severe off-field pyro damage character. Like, I'm not insane, right? Like, there's not an off-field pyro damage 5-star. Like, just make 5-star Xiangling already, guys. I'm pretty sure it would make you a lot of money. Razor, he's gone. Barbara, like I said before, like, you're not going to use her ever. Like, you would just run Jean or something. If it's really her healing that's going to help you, then you're going to run Jean. You're going to run Chi-Chi. Someone. Lisa, once again, I mean, you could just run Raiden. You're not really, for Lisa, it is legitimately just Raiden, and you can use any Electro character. Kaching, and she'll trigger Hyper Blooms. Yeah, just Lisa really is just a Hyper Bloom trigger. Kaya does have his uses. I will admit that. Like, there's no cryo character, I believe, that applies it the same. I believe, yeah. Like, Kaya's application, I think it takes him a couple constellations to get to, but we're considering all these 4 stars at C6. I believe that we'll give Kaya the win because Kaya's cryo application definitely helps. So we'll give him the win. We'll give him 18, and we will give Amber, 21 for loss. All right. So the final tally is 21-18 in favor of losses. Yeah, so basically half the 4 stars are awful, and then half of them are not. We went backwards in order, so we could see that clearly, the recent 4 stars just really aren't holding up. Just once we got to the older 4 stars, they actually, like, up the win amount, like, so much. Because there are legitimate reasons to run those older 4 stars. I only expect the ratio of win to loss to grow in favor of loss. I don't think that they're going to put out 4 stars that are consistently, beating out 5 stars, right? I just don't. It's bad for their, bottom line, obviously. I think the issue is just too far gone to fix at this point because we have Kazuha and Bennett. If we made 4 stars that surpass those characters, then it's just dumb. It just becomes dumb. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.